how cold the air can be, how he can be lost so quickly through the window of opportunity, just like a draft in the night. See how words can twist and hands can ring like phones inside empty homes when nobody's there to hear. Oh, do you hear me, dear? Oh, drive me away, hey, 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 yeah. Drive me away, hey, hey, yeah. Drive me away, hey, 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 yeah. If you can, I don't think you can.
Hi, welcome back. This is Richard Sachs. I'm your host on Lost Arts Radio. We have a fun show tonight that I've been wanting to do on essential oils for a while because I think it's really relevant to the developing health situation that's happening worldwide right now, and also just in any time, you want to learn anything natural that's going to have no harm, like real medicine is supposed to have no harm, the original Hippocratic Oath, which kind of got forgotten and has a lot of potential benefits that anybody can access. So Doug introduced me to Jennifer Bejcek, who's also been one of the group members with Celeste Solom. Has been a guest recently a few times, and we'll be back shortly this weekend even. Well, I don't know exactly when, but she'll be back soon and has a lot of interesting information about developing situations as well. So we get a chance to meet with Jennifer Bejcek tonight and ask her some basic questions I'm going to start with on essential oils to try to include you if you don't know anything about it, as we normally try to do, and then move into more detail as time permits. So welcome, Jennifer, and thanks for giving us the time. It's going to be a really interesting discussion, I'm sure.
Thank you, Richard. It's my pleasure. And just so that your audience knows,
yes,
like who I am, what I do, I would say I'm an expert in essential oil usage, which is perfect for your everyday doctor mom. Mm-hmm. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a health professional as far as I don't have any licensures. Okay. So I just like to be really transparent about that. I've been using them for 10 years.
Okay.
So I know a few things about how to safely use them.
Okay. Yeah, we're not going to do any medical advice or diagnosis or treatment or the usual forbidden things at all. This is just sharing information, which is still okay.
Correct.
I'd like
to share with people what I do.
Let's start at the very beginning. I want to see what you know about just the basic idea for people that never heard of an essential oil and don't know what it is. How are they made? What's in them? And what kinds of things are they useful for? But first of all,
perfect.
Where do they come from and what are they?
Okay, perfect. I'm so glad that you started with that, because in my mind, I tend to sometimes jump ahead and forget that not everybody knows what that is, and it's extremely important. So an essential oil is a volatile aromatic compound that comes from plants. So it can come from different parts of the plant. It could come from the leaf, the flower, the bark, the root, the seed, and then they are high quality essential oils are properly distilled, usually in a steam distill process, versus low quality would be more of a chemical extraction process, which I don't recommend.
Okay.
So another type of extraction.
Before they're distilled, how are they gathered? I mean, the first step, right, is you see a plant that has a desirable oil, and if it's in the leaf or the seed or whatever it is, you harvest that, right? And then do you go right into distillation, or is there a step before it where you press it or something like that?
So I'll answer that in a half a second. So then other plant materials are cold pressed. So there's steam distilling and there's cold pressed, like in the case of citrus oils. Like if you squeeze a citrus rind, you'll see that little spray. That's the essential oil. So those are cold pressed and the others are steam distilled. And each plant is harvested based on what part of the plant is going to be steam distilled. So in the case of many flowers, flower oils, they are many times harvested by hand by farmers and plant farmers, and they do that like very, very early in the morning because of the essential oils flashing off like later in the day in the heat. And then like in the case of vetiver essential oil, that is a root, and so that's harvested literally by digging it out of the ground. And there has to be some sustainability practices there as well.
Okay. So almost all of them are either cold pressed or steam distilled.
Yes, the high quality level of essential oils.
Okay. And
because some are actually made in a laboratory, which I don't necessarily consider an essential oil.
So that's a
synthetic
copy, basically.
Correct.
Okay.
Kind of like how they do prescription medication. Those are actually also copied from plants, but they're made in a laboratory, and that's why you get things like side effects, because your body is very smart, and it knows, it doesn't really know what to do with it, so you get a side effect, and many times you do get a health benefit. That's what you want to call it, a health benefit, but you get a side effect as well. Now with an essential oil, you get the health benefit, but you don't get side effects because your body understands it, which we're getting into kind of the next thing I wanted to talk about, if I covered everything you wanted to kind of talk about with that.
Yeah, I think so, except what you just brought up. If you saw an essential oil in an unmarked bottle that just had the name of the oil on it, is there any way to tell whether that's a synthetic one or a real one?
There's a couple of ways that a consumer could tell. So for instance, let's talk about peppermint essential oil for this example.
Okay.
Now, you understand peppermint as an edible plant, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's in tea, right? You can go to the store and you can buy peppermint tea and tea leaves. Right. Okay. Now, if you saw a bottle of peppermint essential oil that is labeled for topical or aromatic use only, or even worse, for aromatic use only, or also just topical use only, that is an indicator of its quality. The only true way to know exactly what its quality is to have the Aromatic Plant Science Laboratory or a highly reputable laboratory test it, because the essential oil industry is a highly adulterated industry. And so that's why consumers do have to, unfortunately, have to learn and research a little bit about it first. But they're so medicinal that it's really worth it. I feel like I left something out. Oh, so that would be one indicator, right? Okay. Because you should be able to eat peppermint. So now,
yeah, and if you can't eat it, isn't it interesting that they think it's okay to breathe it?
Correct. Yes. And yes, exactly. Now there are certain essential oils that, yes, you should not use it internally. And, that's why, and so it's not always necessarily an indicator, but that's why I use the example of peppermint, because we know that we can eat peppermint leaves.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So the essential oils that I use, on the label, it will say essential oil supplement, and then it'll say supplement facts, and it will say for aromatic topical use, and you can dilute it 1 drop into 4 ounces of water. That indicates it's internal. It's labeled safe to use internally.
Okay.
So those are some of the indicators. So please, audience, don't buy essential oils from the Dollar Tree or your grocery store. Sometimes even health food stores can have essential oils that may not necessarily be 100% pure, because to label a bottle 100% pure, as far as it being a plant oil, only 10% of the bottle has to be pure. And so 90% of it is laboratory made. So that's why the consumer does have to be prudent in these things.
So you're saying if it's 10% essential oil, it could be, the law says it could be labeled as pure, but 90% of it is something unknown. And
yes,
that could be
and if
either
somebody
synthetic,
knows, yes,
or
synthetic,
it could be alcohol.
it could be olive oil. It could be filler. And not that it's a bad thing to dilute as an essential oil, but please be true and authentic in your labeling about it, right? Yeah. Forgot what I was going to say. That's okay.
Okay, yeah. And as far as the labeling goes, most companies, including so-called health food companies and many kinds that we've looked into, they'll go as far as the government requires them to go with honesty. But lately, the government has been allowing all kinds of examples of being completely dishonest. For example, cheeses, organic cheeses that are labeled raw, most of them aren't raw, and the government says that's fine. If they cook them at a temperature below a certain point, they can legally call them raw, and people think that that's true. So I would be surprised if it weren't the case with essential oils also, in some way.
Correct.
Okay, so do you have to research the company that sells it? Is that a way to do it?
That's what I did, because when a friend told me about essential oils as far as having a health benefit, I went online to research essential oils, and what I discovered is there are a lot of different brands. And since I did that research, there has been an explosion in different brands. So I had to do some research on that, and I just really think that I found the right thing for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. And just like your statement about we're not going to give medical advice, we want people to know you're also in business to sell these oils. And I
am. And the ones that I sell are available through other people as well. Okay. And so I more care about people getting a good quality essential oil, whether it's from me or from somebody else, if somebody doesn't resonate with me. Now, if they go directly to the company that I represent, the company will generally just kind of put them with a consultant, random selection.
Right.
So they can seek out who they would like to be with.
Right. And I want to make clear too, I don't think making money is evil. And I'm sorry if people don't like that. I think making money is great, but you do it in a way that helps people and doesn't cause damage. And
correct. And
that's
honest.
not dishonest.
Correct.
So I would be happy if you get, 1 million new sales from what we talk about. I just want people to know that you're doing this as a business. And I think doing your own
for
business
transparency.
Right, and doing your own business is a really good thing to do. It's basically national security instead of everybody having to work for consolidated giant corporations. And when this particular country started, almost everybody was either having their own business, their own farm, or working for somebody who did. And I consider it a really good thing. It just has to be honest and constructive. So,
yes. Thank you.
So what did you start? What did you learn about the company that made it any better than any other source when you were investigating?
At the time, the person that I communicated with, they really talked about how the owners really put everything, I don't recommend this, but they leveraged their homes, their retirements, they put everything into it. Because otherwise they were going to have to get a big investor that would then potentially, they would worry that they would compromise the integrity of the business side of things, and that they would kind of be beholden to them. And I've actually met and have had dinner with almost all of the owners, because I got my essential oils, I got hooked up, but then I vetted them really, really well, because I was like, okay, I know that I'm doing this, but I want to make sure that these are not a bunch of weirdos, and that they're not that it's not a cult. I want to make sure that this is not like prices fall from the sky and all kinds of hype. I was just very concerned about integrity and the direction of where this would go. So, and obviously the quality really had to be there, but the quality, the bottles proved it to me very quickly.
How?
So, for, I would say, about 11 years of my adult life, I was on and off antibiotics. And since I started using oregano essential oil, it does not mean that I have not had anything come up in my life that I've had to deal with. But for 10 years, I have not been prescribed one antibiotic. And I would say that that's a pretty big deal. And so that is how it proved it to me.
Okay. So when you were investigating it originally, what was your purpose? What were you looking for?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that question. So at the time that I had this conversation with my friend, the H1N1 was all over the news scaring people.
Yeah.
And I was one of those scared people. My kids were about 5 and 7 years old. So I felt quite vulnerable. And we were having a conversation, and my friend was telling me about how she had studied essential oils in Europe and whatnot. And she said this phrase: in the times of the bubonic plague, the plant perfumists did not get sick. And they had just pure plant essences, but they were still called perfumists. And they probably had medicinal tonics that they made and whatnot. But when she said that, it intrigued me so much. And that is how I went online to research, and then thus discovered there was a lot of different options and brands to choose from.
Right.
And so now I feel like I'm having kind of a deja vu moment in our current climate that we have going on right now, except that I'm not scared, and I do not feel near as vulnerable as I would.
Right.
I feel quite prepared, but not in not in like a prideful way. But I feel much more secure than I otherwise would. Okay.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. I'm sure that you know, beyond what you were originally looking for when you were investigating the oils for the first time, you must have just run into all kinds of other things that you thought would be useful and interesting that you weren't necessarily looking for, right? Because there are a lot of different essential oils with a lot of different qualities that they have. And I think it would be interesting for people to know a little bit of the spectrum of what kinds of things they do, which ones do what.
Yeah. And on my YouTube channel, I do have a video that is dedicated to talking about quality levels. And that's because I'm not the science person, I'm the doctor mom person. And so that gives me a way to prep and prepare and talk about all the nitty gritty stuff like that. So if people want more of that, they can check that out.
Okay.
And it's called Not All Essential Oils Are Created Equal. But as far as, I think you're asking me more about like, what do I use essential oils for, etc.
And since you mentioned that channel, let's let people know exactly where to find it. What's the name of the channel?
It's called Essential Oil Stories.
That's the channel itself.
Yeah, that's the channel name on YouTube. And I did just start a Brighteon channel, which I don't have a lot of content on there yet. So I just started it. So most of my content is on YouTube.
Essential Stories, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
I think it would be relevant also to talk a little bit about the differences between viruses and bacteria and how essential oils and how modern medicine apply to that.
Sure.
Okay. And again, I'm not the scientist, so I have the 5th grade version of the difference between a virus and a bacteria. So if you have a live chat going, anyone that's in the chat, feel free to help me out as well as you, Richard, because you probably know more than I do. But in basic terms, a virus and a bacteria are different in that, like, a virus isn't a live being, right? It's more like a robot, and it can replicate itself. It can actually go inside of a human cell, right? And you don't want that, right? And the other thing is it's very, very small, which is why it's just how it kind of can go into a human cell. And it has kind of a protective coating. So think of it like a turtle, right? It has like a protective shell. And a bacteria is something that operates on the outside of a human cell, which is why your doctor can quite easily prescribe you an antibiotic for something that's bacterial. Now, if we're kind of talking about in general terms, like, say, for instance, a urinary tract infection or a bladder infection. And it's bigger in size, so it's easier as well for the water-based man-made medicines to deal with. A human cell is more of a lipophilic substance, more like a fat-loving lipophilic substance, and essential oils are similar in that way as well, a fat-loving lipophilic substance, which is great because the molecules are extremely small. So they can also go inside of a human cell because the molecules are extremely small and they are a lipophilic fat-loving substance like our cells. And so that's also another way that why our body does not respond negatively and why we don't have side effects, because our body recognizes it as safe. It's natural. We don't have side effects. And so I think that kind of covers the basics of virus and bacteria differences and why your doctor can't easily prescribe you something for a virus, right? So if you go to the doctor and you have a cold, they're going to send you home with a prescription for your own immune system. They're going to say, go home, get some rest, and hydrate.
Well, they have what's called antiviral drugs, but they're very dangerous. And anybody that's thinking of taking them, like any drug or even any food, should read about what it is and what it does. Because just because they call something a side effect doesn't mean, the word side doesn't mean anything. It's just one of the effects, right? And that's true. Like in the case of HIV, they can give you an antiviral. It's not necessarily... I know people that were HIV patients, I know, that were killed by the medicine that they took instead of by the HIV. So it's kind of serious, and it's worth looking at. I mean, popular antivirals have things like destroying your liver, and some of them make you go psychotic, and little things like that that you really should check out before you start eating those things. So I would imagine that some essential oils, depending on the category, might be seen as having a natural antiviral effect, right? Is that true?
Absolutely. Yes. I like to use a drop of wild orange essential oil in my hands as an instant hand sanitizer if I don't have my, essential oil hand sanitizer spray with me. Yeah, works great.
Okay. So if you were looking at all the different kinds of essential oils, and I'm assuming there are at least hundreds, how do you
There's at least 100, yes, because not every plant has an essential oil.
So if there's 100 of those, how do you break them into categories to start understanding which ones to use?
So personally, for me, I break them into categories of immune support, because that's how I came to be intrigued by them. So that's my so immune support. I look at digestion, and this is just my own personal opinion.
Yeah.
Digestion, because that's how I pack my bag when I travel, is immune support and digestion. Oh, also rest and stress.
Okay.
I would say there's a good rest and stress category. I mean, obviously, there's systems of the body. So a person could break them up by systems of the body if they wanted to. So if a person was really working on lung support, cardiovascular support, they could do that too.
Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah, because I wanted to,
brain support.
Okay. Yeah, as easy as possible, a way to follow. I wanted to give people an idea of the spectrum of the different ones that are available, and let's start with the most popular that a lot of people would find useful. Let us know what those are and what they do.
Yeah, I could tell you one of my top essential oils. It's not widely known, but it's called. The Americans say copaiba, and the Brazilians say copaiba, and that is from a tree in the in Brazil.
How do you spell it?
Okay, it's COPAIBA.
Okay.
I love that. It's quite affordable. Now, it's not one of those essential oils where you go to use it because it smells amazing and tastes amazing and all of that stuff. But it does not smell or taste bad. Mm-hmm. So if you're wanting something that, like for its aroma, citrus oils are great, flower oils are great. But copaiba is wonderful because you can use it aromatically or topically or internally. And it's great for the blood. So if someone is wanting to work on maintaining healthy blood viscosity in terms of the thinness or thickness of their blood and maintaining a healthy viscosity level. Okay, so that would be good for them. It's also good for the lungs, the immune system. Very good for helping with inflammation levels in your body. It's good for your throat, your skin, for oral health. So it would be a great oral health swish to swish it around in your mouth. And if it's just a quick swish, you can even swallow it. You don't have to spit it out. Right. If you're doing something like oil pulling with it, then in that situation, you would spit that out. It is good for your digestion, circulation as far as like water retention in your body. It's really good for muscles. Some people have aches and pains in their muscles or joints. Again, it's good for skin, so it's good for wounds. It's not gonna hurt. It's not going to hurt in that situation. And it is good for mood and anxious feelings. So some people compare it to CBD oil. I don't have CBD oil because I have copaiba oil. But that doesn't, if somebody has CBD oil that they love, great. That's just, I don't need it. I don't need to research, because it's, again, quality level. You would have to know what quality you are looking at. So
right. So if you get it in a bottle, it's a little bottle, like you usually see it, and
it's like a 15 milliliter size bottle.
And what do you do with it? I mean, you take a drop and you dilute it in water or something like that?
Yeah, you could put it in some honey and put it in your mouth. You could put it in some honey and put it in some tea. You could, I use gel capsules if I want to, I call it make myself a potion or whatever. You can drip it into gel capsules. You can literally just drip 2 drops under your tongue.
So it's not the kind where it's not so strong that if you got some undiluted in your mouth it would hurt you. It's not like that.
Correct. It's very mild tasting. It does come from a tree, so you probably are going to get a little bit of a tree flavor, but it is quite mild. I was very surprised how mild it was. And if you wanted to mix it with a drop of lemon oil, a drop of wild orange, then you would then get the flavor of the citrus instead. So I think it's a really good all-around one. If somebody was going to just get one thing, that would be a great thing to get. I think right now in the current environment that we're living in, that people really do need to start thinking more about diffusing essential oils into the air.
Right.
That's not, and as far as copaiba is concerned, that wouldn't be necessarily one that I would use for my environment to keep my environment clean and sanitary. I would diffuse other essential oils, but as far as using an oil for my personal wellness, that would be a great one to start with.
Right. So let's just talk about a few like that, whatever comes to your mind. Imagine that you were new when you were saying, which ones are really good to know about,
Yeah.
Simple question like that.
So for me, a must-have oil, and this is specific to the brand that I purchase, and so I apologize for that, but it's just the way it is. It's On Guard Protective Blend. So the name of it's called On Guard, and that is actually in 2 words.
Oh,
so it's 2 words, On Guard.
You better tell people what the brand is so they can find it.
So that is by doTERRA. That's DOTERRA, doTERRA. And so that brand, or that essential oil, it contains rosemary, wild orange, cinnamon, clove, eucalyptus. Yeah. Okay. So that's what is contained in the On Guard blend. And that is one that I highly recommend that people diffuse in a diffuser. That's for an essential oil diffuser. So I'm not talking about a humidifier that puts water into the air. So a little story about that. So back when the H1N1 was going crazy, there was a high school in Colorado, and they were doing a lot of cleaning in there, and somebody, like a teacher or a janitor or somebody, they must have had this blend, On Guard. And actually, you can find, there's a study on PubMed.gov. If you go on PubMed.gov, there's a study with On Guard, the specific essential oil blend from doTERRA. Sorry, back to my story. So they were cleaning this high school because of the H1N1 outbreak, and somebody diffused On Guard essential oil blend in one of the science labs and killed everything in the petri dish. So they ruined all their projects. Yeah. So it can impact your air and the surfaces around. And so that's why I was mentioning in this current climate, you can clean surfaces and doorknobs all day long, but how are you going to clean your air if you have somebody coughing in your house?
What's the difference between a diffuser and a vaporizer?
So when you say vaporizer, you mean a humidifier?
Well, it's like a little glass thing with water in it, and you can put something in the water if you want, but it heats the water up and steam comes out of it, basically.
Okay, yeah. So I'm thinking of the same thing you are. You're just using a different word. So what you're talking about, a vaporizer or humidifier, is designed to put moisture into the air, and it does a really good job at that. Okay. Now, an aromatherapy diffuser is designed to put the essential oils. Remember, I mentioned they have very, very small molecules. Right. And so there are aromatherapy diffusers that are either waterless, where it literally is just the aromatic compounds that go into the air.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can have a diffuser that has water in it. Thankfully, my friend has hers going for me. I asked her to do that because I'm trying to stay healthy. And it just this has a little bit of water in it and essential oils. But the goal for it is to put just the aromatic compounds into the air. And that's great for healthy breathing. So at nighttime, you can use like eucalyptus while you're sleeping, and that's going to help you breathe better, or peppermint, or cardamom, or my favorite for breathing is our Breathe blend. It's called Breathe, and it has all of the different favorites all mixed together in one bottle. But I really think that people need to be diffusing the On Guard protective blend into the air. Mm-hmm. For if you have people coughing, or even if you don't have people coughing right now, I think it's a really good idea.
Okay. And I want to say too, you were apologizing for saying that this is your brand and you sell it. I think it would be great for people to buy it from you. I don't see anything bad about that. And again, we've been trained to think that if anybody's making money from what they're doing that's good, that invalidates it. And I don't think that's true. What it does is it makes them able to keep doing it, which is a really beneficial thing. So if everybody wants to buy it from you, it's fine with me. At least you know who you're dealing with. So in fact, if they didn't want to do that, you can tell them how they would do it. I don't think they're going to be able to do it unless you explain how. So if somebody wants to buy some of this stuff that we're talking about, and we'll talk about more, what do they do if they want some of it?
So if they want some of it and they want to go to my website to do that, because I'm not the only person.
Right.
The website is mydoterra.com // there's some sort of / relief, and I'll spell that out. So it's MYDOTERRA .com
right.
COM, and then / relief RELIEF.
Okay, that's not too hard.
Yeah, not too hard.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, and then they'll find a list of all the ones they can get.
Yeah, and then there will be tabs at the top to shop. They can look at the company if they want to vet that out. There's links for science if they want to look at the science. And then there are two ways to purchase, either retail, which I don't recommend, or wholesale. And you can literally just get, it would be like Amazon Prime. You can literally just get a wholesale account. It is a $35 membership fee initially to get the wholesale price. And then if you ordered again, 12 months from now, then there is a membership renewal fee of $25, and they give you a free bottle of peppermint oil with your membership renewal.
So you're going to get the money back really easily, basically. Right?
Correct. And there is not a purchase minimum ever, unless you want perks such as points or free things. Then obviously there's minimums for that. But otherwise, you can literally just order one time and never order again.
Right. Good. Okay. So again, going back to you exploring, what oils are useful, and you mentioned these two. What else do people want to know?
Personally, I love tea tree essential oil.
Right.
Also called melaleuca. We used to call it melaleuca. Now we just call it tea tree oil, like everybody else. And that's just a really great all-around essential oil. Even this week, my 18-year-old. So a little bit about me. I've been married 20 years to my husband, and we have a 15-year-old and an 18-year-old son.
Okay.
So my 18-year-old son, he has a canker sore, and I told him what to do. And, boys sometimes don't do what you say, even though you're right. But he's been putting the tea tree oil on there every night. He's came to me last night and he said, "Mom, just want you to know, I've been putting that tea tree oil on inside my mouth every night, And I thought he was going to say something like, and it's not getting better, because then I'll have to call the naturopath. Anyway, and he said, and it's getting better. And I'm like, yeah, of course it is. Yeah,
Other
it's
people
just
have
a really
noticed that
good,
too.
yeah. So there's a couple essential oils that I would put into the category of the Swiss Army knife of essential oils, and that would be the tea tree oil and lavender oil. Those, you really have no idea how many different things that they can do. And I have videos about those two on my channel, the tea tree oil and the lavender oil. So I wanted to kind of rewind slightly, but while staying on topic, about what is an essential oil. And I want to take lavender oil. We brought it up for a moment, and I think my statistics are right when I say this. But if you also want to have an idea of what is an essential oil made up of, lavender comes from lavender. But a true, pure, potent essential oil of lavender, it's made up of, I believe, something like 217 different components. So think about if you were going to make a chocolate cake.
Yeah.
There's maybe, 8 ingredients in chocolate cake, right? Pretty simple, right? Because about every household in America could do that.
Yeah.
Now, a lavender essential oil having so many different components to it, that would be like a chocolate cake with 217 different ingredients in order to have a real good chocolate cake. Yeah. So that's what makes essential oils incredibly complex and very difficult to duplicate. And people try to do it because it's cheaper in a laboratory. But it does not do the same thing. And that's why some people think that essential oils don't work, is because they haven't tried the right ones.
Right.
But I think every household should have citrus oils. Citrus oils are great for helping your liver and your body to create glutathione. There's a couple sciencey words that I know, and that is one of them. So glutathione is it's kind of like your body's own natural antioxidant that it makes, and it makes it in your liver and your brain, and it's like your anti-aging antioxidant. And citrus oils are so good for helping your body to develop that glutathione. So that's why a drop of lemon oil in your water is great when you're drinking it. And that's when we use glass or stainless steel, because citrus oils, if you put a drop of citrus oil into a styrofoam cup, not that I want to drink out of a styrofoam cup ever, but it could literally eat a hole through the styrofoam cup. So if you and the reason why it's doing that is it's kind of extractive. So it's when you use it in your body, it's kind of extracting stuff out, which is why you need to drink a lot of water when you use essential oils, because anytime you mobilize something that shouldn't be there, you need to give it a pathway out. Right. Am I making sense? Yeah. That seemed like a lot all in one.
No, it's very logical. I thought you
explained
it really well.
Okay.
So, okay.
And I can answer questions in the comment section, after you.
Well, remember,
post on
the comments will be later, because we're recording right now.
Right. I just mean later. If people ask questions, I'll check it.
That's a nice offer. So anybody watching this, take advantage of it. Ask questions, and I thought that would be great.
Yeah, and some questions, if they're very, very complex, and it's in a public setting, don't be offended if I ask you to maybe email me and we can chat after this.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any cautions with essential oils at all? The only one I can think of right offhand is there are some of them that are really strong, and you don't want to consume them straight. Right? Am I correct about that?
Yes. So there are some essential oils that are hot and spicy. I think I mentioned oregano, right? Did I mention oregano?
In the beginning, you said
kind of in my beginning story. Yeah, that was kind of like my aha, this is the real deal moment. Yeah. So oregano, cinnamon, clove, lemongrass, those are hot and spicy oils. So if you put it drop directly in your mouth, you're going to feel like you just bit into a jalapeno pepper. So I tell people to treat it like it's a jalapeno pepper. So if it's on your hands, you need to use some soap and water, wash it off your hands so that you don't touch your face and start crying. So some basic essential oil safety is with those hot, spicy oils, which I don't know. You can look them up. I mean, in my catalog, it has details of that. If you're going to use them topically, if you just dilute them with some vegetable oil, I use personally when I'm diluting essential oils, I use a fractionated coconut oil. But if you don't have that, you can use, olive oil or avocado oil, something like that. And you could start with a ratio of with hot spicy oil, you want more than equal parts. So you want more of like a 1 drop essential oil to 4 parts. I don't know, a quarter of a teaspoon, maybe, of
olive oil
a vegetable
or something
oil.
like that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. To give you a general idea. And on my channel, I also have a video about dilution because I'm not a person that measures things. So I made a video for the person that likes to measure everything exactly.
Okay.
So diluting the hot and spicy ones. And then some people are just sensitive skin people. If you know of yourself as being a sensitive skin person, then you might just want to dilute slightly all the oils that you use. I'm a little hardcore and I don't dilute them. Now, a spicy oil like oregano, you could apply that to the bottoms of your feet, undiluted, and be just fine. Of course, wash your hands afterwards. Other health and safety is we don't put essential oils in our eyes, our nose, or our ears. However, there are some safe ways to use essential oils for your eyes, nose, and ears.
Okay. Would that be like diluted and sprayed, something like that?
So, for instance, I had something going on with my eye, and was fun because I worked for an eye doctor at the time, and I didn't use any of his stuff, and I even kind of was a little sassy about it. But I used a little bit of we'll say a drop, even less than a drop of melaleuca and lavender on my finger. And I just went right outside of my eye, like you have an eye bone right around. So I just rubbed it around my eye, and it is so soothing. So soothing.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Now, for your ear, if again you're not going to drop essential oils in your ear, but if you're concerned about your ear and you want to keep that healthy, or it's kind of achy, you can put a drop of melaleuca tea tree oil or basil essential oil. Maybe you could try lavender, and you just on a cotton ball, and you just gently place it in there. You can also do the drop method like I just said, and then you can just go kind of around the outside of your ear as well. And then lately what I've been doing before I walk into a store is I put a little bit of melaleuca just kind of on the outer nostril areas of my nose, just because I'm like, okay, anything I breathe in, I want it to have to pass the doorway of the tea tree oil.
Yeah. And
those are some of the safety tips.
Okay. Any particular interesting stories that you get feedback about from people that have used it in different situations that come to your mind that you want to share?
Well, a lot of people. One of the things that people get the most instant benefit from is digestive, which is great for if you just put a drop or two topically, just rubbing on the tummy. And ginger oil. I know I'm a little bit off track of your question, but ginger essential oil is one that would be really, really powerful and also gentle, obviously. And you would probably want to dilute that slightly because I think, in my opinion, that for anything that's nausea related, queasiness feeling, ginger is absolutely the most powerful. That's your number one. But also other digestive situations, calming, it's warming, highly beneficial. Trying to think of a story. There's so many stories. Oh, well, I did have somebody with a doggy, and she sent me a photograph of before and after pictures. And I don't think the dog got into I don't think it injured itself. It just kind of one of those things that start happening, just sort of manifested with its eye, but it was just really gross looking. And she knows that we don't put anything in the eye, but we just go around the eye. And she was able to save herself from a really great veterinarian bill. I believe she used frankincense or lavender for that. I'm trying to remember the exact ones, but sometimes it almost doesn't matter the specific one if you kind of use an sort of the inflammation helper category, which lavender, frankincense, I talked about tea tree oil for skin and wounds and things like that. So those are all good helpers, yeah.
And those categories, those are all on your website, right?
Well, my website, I can't change it. So that is my company sponsored.
Okay, that's
website.
the website they give.
Yeah, my brand sponsored website. Yeah, okay. Which is why I have the YouTube channel, because then I can direct people and teach people, and they can ask me questions.
Okay. Is there any?
And I have on my YouTube channel, I have some different playlists. So I have a digestive playlist and immune support playlist. Yeah.
Okay, and that's essential oil stories, right?
Correct.
It's not under your name.
Correct. Well, I do have a YouTube channel under my name. Please don't go there because I would feel really silly. I post some weird things. I have
to confess, I went there.
You're probably going to go.
But I said that because nothing bad happened. But I didn't see any essential oil stuff there.
Really, just what it shows you is I'm a little bit of an eccentric, eclectic person with different interests and things to share, and not really too worried about what people think.
Yeah,
even though we all have have a little bit of that in us. I'm a little bit of people pleasing, but I'm not going to worry about it too much.
Yeah, I think that's great. Is there anything that you would recommend the website for?
The website is great for if you want to look up, it does have a really great blog article section. The website has the FDA friendly language. Okay. And so on my channel, I try to translate it a little bit better. Even, you guys can kind of tell that I'm making sure I say the right things.
Right.
Yeah, say the right things. But I try to, on my channel, get the point across a little bit better than the website would. So the website would be great for shopping, looking at the blog articles, because there are some really fun DIY recipes, how you can make your own hand sanitizer and different things like that.
Right.
There are a few videos that the company produces that are good.
You want to say what the website is so people can look at it?
So again, it's mydoterra.com/relief. mydoterra.com/RELIEF.
Okay, but for the more personal stuff coming from you specifically.
Oh, yeah. That is the YouTube channel. Okay. Correct.
Essential oil stories. Okay, and I would encourage people to take advantage of your offer and ask questions. And if they want to ask questions on just generally on the YouTube channel, how do they do that? Is there a contact form or questions on each video, or how does that work?
Well, when they open the YouTube video, like if they go to my channel and they find a video and they click on it,
Right.
then below the video there's a comment section. And I think that on the About section of my channel, they can find a way to contact me.
Yeah, some of them offer that. But if you read, do you read pretty much all the comments on all your videos?
Yes.
Okay.
And if somebody wants my email address, I will comment and tell them my email address.
Okay, in the comments, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I would do that.
Okay. All right. Trying to think of anything that you would like to leave people with to remember from this whole conversation. That what's the most important bottom line for the whole thing? How would you say that?
The important bottom line would be that essential oils are just one tool in your toolbox, right? It does not replace sleep. It does not replace proper hydration and water. It does not replace vitamins. But all those other things are also not an essential oil. Mm-hmm. So there's a place for all of the modalities, chiropractic, massage, all of those wonderful things. And it might seem a little bit intimidating, but that's what the tutorials are for. And once you just get a few oils and start learning how to use them, you get comfortable with them, and then you notice how they affect you so positively, and you're going to start to feel empowered, then that's what matters. And I love learning. So if you love learning, you will absolutely love essential oils. And it's really not that hard, because I feel like I simplify it really well on my videos.
Good.
Yeah,
and the tutorials you're referring to are particular videos on the site, right? On the channel.
Yes, the tutorials are the videos on my channel. They're maybe 10 minutes.
Oh, that's great. Okay. Sounds great.
So,
all right.
I'll tell you one more essential oil that I think is really great, even though it might be a little pricey, but because of the current climate we live in at the moment, rose essential oil. Now, if you got the straight rose, nothing else in the bottle but rose essential oil, it's a small bottle for $275. Wow. However, yes, because of so much plant material, so it's a very low yield. So there's a lot of plant material that has to go into the distillery in order to come out with just a little bit of rose oil. But doTERRA has made it available in a roll-on bottle that they call Rose Touch. So it's in the Touch line, and what that indicates is it has fractionated coconut oil in the bottle. So again, transparency. They're telling you what is in the bottle. And it allows people to obtain the powerful benefits of rose for $70. I believe that's the wholesale price, for $70. So it makes it affordable. But rose is, if you can afford it, it would be kind of like the sprinkles on the cake. But wow, those sprinkles will do a lot of things.
So what do you notice that it does?
Microbial wise.
Okay.
So obvious. Flower oils are known to be really great for your skin, and for your mood and emotions. But rose oil has some benefits that, microbial wise, are extremely powerful.
So how do you use it for that?
So you would just like roll it on the back of your neck. Maybe on the bones behind your ears. I mean, you literally can rub it wherever you want on your body. And it's very gentle. Flower oils are gentle. But that's how I would use it. When you put oils on your spine, That's a really good protective measure because sometimes things like to go and hide in those warm mucosal areas until your immune system gets depressed, and then they like to come out and fight you. So oils on the spine are really good, so rose on your spine would be great.
Okay, and if you got one of those bottles for the diluted one or the straight one, how long would one of those last? How many uses?
Oh, wow. Well, because I think of it as so precious and it's a little bit pricey, you're not going to use it every day. So it could last you it could last you a year, 2 years, 3 years. It could last you, and that's another thing. Essential oils, they almost don't have a shelf life, kind of like homeopathics. They last a long time. Now there is an expiration date on the bottle, but that's only because they're required by the FDA. Yeah, they're required to put that, but they last a very long time, and you want to keep them in a cool place. Like your house is cool enough. I'm just saying, don't keep it in your car in the summertime, and out of direct sunlight is best. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope everybody gets in touch with you and watches your videos. It sounds like there's great information there that's going to be enjoyable to get through and absorb all that new knowledge, and very powerful tools that anybody can have right away. So.
And I appreciate you for having me on.
Yeah, my pleasure. Hopefully we'll do it again. So hold on, and we'll stay by in the break here, and we'll talk to everybody soon.
Okay.
Okay, you guys, so there goes Jennifer Bejcek. I think I said that correctly. And remember her YouTube site that we've been talking about, where she's got all kinds of tutorials and educational videos, and it sounds like there's a bunch of them that are short but full of interesting information. And I really appreciate her coming on. I like her full disclosure and transparency that, yeah, she makes money by selling essential oils. Maybe I'm missing something, but I don't really see how that's bad. I think it's great, and a lot more people should be able to have their own businesses in whatever they like to do, as long as it's doing good things for people. And I think that would really help the world to have people getting to make a living doing things they actually believe in. I think that's great. So anyway, go and see her educational videos at the YouTube channel. Even if you don't buy anything from her, it's a valuable educational site. The diffuser thing was really interesting, and the difference between that and a vaporizer. I'm really looking at that now because we've been seeing on a show that I can't mention because it's been banned, that the diffuser thing is a really good way to use iodine, the really good forms of iodine that we've talked about, and nano silver 10 parts per million, which is very important to know the details of that right in the current situation. But I never thought about essential oils, and in all the decades that I've been doing the health science work and all that, I never really learned very much about essential oils, and this is good motivation, and I'll take a look at her site too and try to get a diffuser. And this is a good time to be as self-sufficient for your own health care as you possibly can, as well as other things. So anyway, I'm grateful to Jennifer for coming on today, and if you want to stay in touch, even if you can't find us on major platforms at some point, go to lostartsradio.com and look for the mailing list sign up or email list sign up, and just a name and an email address. And that way, if we need to stay in touch with you, if you can't find us in other places, which is anything like that's possible these days, we can send you information, videos, etc. And then another way to do that is go to Brighteon, which is BRIGHTEON.com/channel/Lost Arts Radio. I would do it right now while you're thinking about it. It's free. There's no money involved. Just go there and sign up and subscribe and ask for the alerts so that you'll be told when a new video's out. And the owner of that, whom I can't mention because he's banned too, says he's not going to censor, and hopefully we'll be there for a long time. The other thing is that if you're interested in really starting to use some of these things for yourself and work on your own physical health and learn the actual consciousness tools to allow you to make the physical changes without stress and willpower, that's what we share information on in Planetary Healing Club, and the small dues from that is what we do instead of commercials, so that we don't have to interrupt our shows with promoting products. Or if I do say a good thing about product, it's because I think it's a good product. That's it. And generally, it has nothing to do with money for us. But the dues for the club do help us. So if it's useful for you and you're ready to do some work on yourself, and it's live interactive every week. I'm there every week to talk to you. And if you want to be part of that and learn a lot of interesting things from really ancient knowledge adapted over a period of about 40 to 50 years that I was working on that, to present environments and circumstances that you can use if you're ready to do that, then sign up for planetaryhealingclub.com. And the access point for that is at planetaryhealingclub.com, and that lets you have a way into the private forum where we're not going to get censored, at least not now. The other thing is that Doug has put up a Subscribe Star page. We need to be kept on the air and support our work so we can keep going. So we're putting a lot into this, and that's at subscribestar.com/Lost Arts Radio. And, people keep saying, some of them, well, that's no good. I mean, you shouldn't charge for anything. Everything should be free, and that's kind of the mentality that we're being trained for in the U.S. and much of the world right now. But it's actually not true. That, at least in my current state of consciousness, you have to have some money to actually do your work and survive. And there's just choices of how to make it. And a lot of the problems of the world are because people have chosen to do it by hurting people and lying. And I don't think that's a very good thing, not just for the victims, but the people doing it who are victims too. They don't realize it. And if you're listening to this and you're a spy on our program or a monitor or something, and you're out there working for the system and doing things that on a deeper level are not good, it's a bad trade. To quote something from one of Kevin Costner's old movies, it's a bad trade because we're so deeply connected, and we all make all kinds of mistakes, but eventually you find out that anything that you do to or for somebody else intentionally just starts to come back to you instantaneously. So if you want to really help yourself, do everything you can for other people. And if you want to help other people, take care of yourself. Because if you don't do that, you're not going to be able to be very useful. It's really simple, and you don't have to try to be unselfish, because you're never going to be able to accomplish that anyway. I don't think anybody ever has. But what happens is they understand on a deeper level that yourself includes everybody. So, those old statements about loving the other person as yourself, there's a thing about that. The reason that you can do that at a certain level of awareness is that they are yourself in another form. Maybe they're you in a earlier part of the whole learning cycle, and how would you have liked to be treated when you were at that point? That's how you treat them, or better. And that's how you're totally selfish, because you're really going to help yourself if you do that. So I just want you to stay in touch with us if you can. I hope some of the things we talk about are useful. That's the whole point of Doug putting in so much time and my doing this, is that we're trying to provide something that you can actually benefit from. So you can watch us on the normal channels, the big channels, as long as we're able to stay there. But in the meantime, go to brighteon.com/channel/Lost Arts Radio and subscribe to us there, so you'll at least stay in contact that way. If you have resources and you want to help us do our work, we have donate buttons at lostartsradio.com, and our nonprofit website, which is lostartsresearchinstitute.org. Donate buttons are contact me if you have questions about the school we want to build, the work we're doing now, which parts might be worth your time to look at. I'm at richard@lostartsradio.com. Especially in the time we're going through right now, it's really critical to bring your own awareness to the greatest height that you possibly can. You're going to have to work on yourself if you want to help yourself, but also be useful and make some kind of your best contribution to the world as we go through whatever's going to happen from this point forward. So you need to learn the real laws of health that are violently suppressed in our country right now and in much of the world. We talk about those freely on Planetary Healing Club, and so you can meet us there live if you want to. There's inner work that you need to do, and if you only learn the physical level laws of nature, it's really hard to go very far with it, because our consciousness in its present form is very much programmed, and what we think of reality is, much of it is not real. But there is a reality, and the way you're designed, you can get in touch with it to whatever degree you're willing to go. But you have to be brave to work on yourself. It's probably the most challenging thing that I've ever come across. And you're invited if you want to. So stay in touch. If you have suggestions for shows or comments or questions or anything like that, there's contact forms on the two sites, and then you can also email me if you want to. I think that's about it. Remember, we have a Saturday live show that is 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern for an hour every Saturday. And then half an hour after that is the meeting of the private club that you can be part of if you want, starting at 6 o'clock Pacific U.S. time, 9 o'clock Eastern time. And that access point is planetaryhealingclub.com. Let me know if there's anything you want us to cover, and we'll look at all of your emails, contact forms, everything like that, because we want to try to keep it as relevant to each one of you as possible, and we'll do the best we can on that. Take care of yourself. It's the best way to help everybody else, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Have a good night.
Introducing Lost Arts Radio on Subscribestar.com. Just go to subscribestar.com/LostArtsRadio to find our rewards program, offering 10 different giving levels starting at just $5 a month. We offer incredible value for any rewards level, from extra monthly interview videos not available publicly to subscription-based Planetary Healing Club videos once, twice, or 3 times a month, to private counseling sessions with Lost Arts Radio host Richard Sachs, to tech help with me, Doug Diamond. We even have one option where you can be the star on Lost Arts Radio as our guest on a specially produced show just for you. We conduct an interview with you and broadcast it to our growing network and listenership. Our Subscribestar levels are one of a kind and offer great rewards for any budget. Please help support Lost Arts Radio. We can't do it without you. With increasing censorship on many of our channels, we really need your support today to keep doing what we're doing. As Richard says, we're not even at survival level yet. Lost Arts Radio has 3 weekly shows. Lost Arts Radio Live each Saturday night at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, which is a live stream currently on multiple platforms in case we get banned from some of the larger ones. Right now, we're on 2 YouTube channels, Facebook Live, Periscope, which is Twitter, Twitch, and DLive. You can access these broadcasts by going to www.lostartsradio.com/live for all the links to those channels. The Planetary Healing Club meets right after Lost Arts Radio Live at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on Saturday nights. And our Sunday show with guests airs at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on Sunday nights on our Blog Talk Radio channel, our YouTube channels, Facebook pages, and on Brighteon. Be sure to sign up for our free email list just in case we do get banned on big tech's platforms. It's just a matter of time, really. They don't like the stuff we talk about, and they do not want the truth out there. In fact, they have already attacked us numerous times. Join our free email list so we can let you know where we are and how to access our shows. The sign up button is right on the top right on most pages of our website. The best starting point for all things Lost Arts Radio is our main site, lostartsradio.com, where you can find the hottest news selection videos that we curate just for you. Those are on the homepage and added to daily, as well as articles and breaking news about information you really need to know. Our show archives, the 10 most recent shows, are right on our homepage, as well as our Blog Talk Radio page at blogtalkradio.com/lostartsradio, or just click the All Things Radio Show tab right on our website. We're in the podcast directory on iTunes, and all of our shows except the banned ones are on our YouTube channels at Lost Arts Radio and at Diamond Disc. Our Brighteon page is really taking off, and we often have editors' picks videos right on their homepage. Visit brighteon.com/channel/LostArtsRadio. On our site, you can also access our free listener forum as well as sign up for the Planetary Healing Club, which is just $25 a month, where you get private access to a one-on-one interaction with host Richard Sachs and myself and the other club members who participate live. More info can be found at planetaryhealingclub.com. We're providing solutions in there to make the world a better place. Come join us. Stay tuned, because up next, you'll get to hear a really great song by an independent artist that we're doing our best to support. Go to lostartsradio.com/music for the full list of all the great songs and bands that we spin on our audio-only podcast shows. If you're in a band and want to submit a song for consideration for airplay on Lost Arts Radio, visit my website at diamonddiscaudio.com for more information about the music placement, mastering, and mixing work that I do. Thanks again for listening to and supporting Lost Arts Radio. We love having you as part of our family to learn, experience, and grow with.
See how when you hold me, how gently I unfold. See how you can really just open me wide. See how my heart shatters, how easy it is to break. Careful now, can you feel the ground? It is beginning to shake. Pry me away, hey, 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 yeah. Pry me away, hey, hey, yeah. Pry me away, hey, 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 yeah. You can, I don't think you can. Feel how cold the air can be, how he can be lost so quickly through the window of opportunity, just like a draft in the night. See how words can twist and hands can ring like phones inside empty homes when nobody's there to hear. Oh, do you hear me, dear? Oh, pry me away, hey, 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 yeah. Pry me away, hey, hey, yeah. Pry me away, hey, 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 yeah. If you can, I don't think you can. We are black and blue. There are more than two colors to be here, and this history won't make me. Oh, oh, yeah. Pry me away, hey, 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 yeah. Pry me away, hey, hey, yeah. Pry me away, hey, 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 yeah. If you can, I don't think you can. I don't think you can. You can. See how when you hold me, how gently I unfold. See how you can really just open me wide.